One of the hard truths that people need to realize when we talk about mentorship compared to other trainings is just that it has more impact, and it's because it's personalized. And when I talk to supervisors, they ultimately will say to me, mentorship is not worth it. And it's funny to me because ultimately they'll spend thousands of dollars sending people to conferences. And this is, as speaking as someone that goes to about a dozen conferences a year, I see more value in mentorship than I do going to a conference. A conference is great for getting information, but a mentorship really allows for people to flourish. It really allows for people to be seen and heard. And that's ultimately kind of the messaging behind it. So I'll run all these trainings. We'll get people to have interactive trainings as well too, so they're not just listening to a lecture. This is a training for the Connecticut Camp Association where we're getting them to really interact with the material and really visualize. But it really goes back to just have a deep need to be seen and heard, and it goes back to Maslow hierarchy of needs in psychology, even goes further than that. It goes back to Blackfoot Nation and talking about just self-actualization and from a First Nations perspective. And when we look at this pyramid about basic needs, psychological needs, and self-fulfillment needs, it's at its real beginning, people need to feel connected to everything. If they are not feeling belongingness, if they're not feeling, frankly, an intimate relationship with the person they're hearing from, they'll never get to a self fulfillment need, meaning that they will never feel like they are achieving their full potential. And that's why mentorship is so great. And we even see this in the camp day. In the camp day, if you are supervised, fed, properly hydrated, and protected from nature, you'll have a fun day. And then if you're having a fun day, that's when you have the life changing experience. And that's so much of what mentorship allows for a dynamic where you feel like someone's actually listening to you and seeing what your needs are in order to be developed. And this plays also into just youth's needs overall. So when we look at youth's needs, it really breaks into three components. One is agency, so the opportunity to take on challenges. Number two is identity. So basically, that's how you are seen. And when we talk about identity for youth in particular, if you ever ask a young person to change their clothes, for instance, they might get really offended. That's because you're asking to change who they are, who they see themselves as. And that's why identity is so strong. And then the last is competency. Just the be able to complete and take on tasks. And so when we talk about youth and mentorship, the reason it is so vital is because it allows for all three of these to be met. And these aren't just wants; these are needs. So ultimately, mentorship allows and encourages folks to think big. It pushes you outside your comfort zone. And often, what you think your comfort zone is ends up being your limiting zone. And so, when we talk about this, just overall, a mentor can say something to someone and say, I know you feel that way, but you can do it. That lands so differently than any other type of training someone could go through. When I'm not working directly with camp staff, I spend a lot of time recruiting executive level leadership. And when we talk about what CEO means, chief executive officer is how most people know it. But for me, when I'm really looking at the people that could potentially be an executive leader, I'm looking for them to have this mindset that change equals opportunity. And frankly, the people that get to this mindset are the people that have great mentorship.